Stop running laps. Stop standing in lines. And please, stop waiting to touch the ball. I'm going to tell you something most coaches won't. A huge chunk of what you do in a typical training session might actually be making you a worse football player. You heard me. Those isolated passing drills, the static cones, the endless cues. Sure, they teach your feet what to do, but they completely ignore the one thing that separates good players from great ones: your brain. Football isn't played in straight lines, and it sure isn't played without pressure. The game is chaos. It's about making the right choice in a split second when 3 opponents are closing in. So why would you train in a way that removes all of that? The biggest myth in player development is that you train technique first and then figure out how to use it in a game. That's totally backwards. True football IQ is built in the fire of game-like situations. It's about building a connection between your eyes, your brain, and your feet, so they work as one seamless unit under pressure. Today, we're not just doing drills. We're going to install new software directly into your brain. These 3 games will force you to think faster, see more, and make smarter decisions than you ever thought possible. Before we get to the drills, you need to understand why this stuff is so important. Think about the last match you played. Did you have time to sit and think? Or did you just have to react? The best players seem to have all the time in the world. They don't. They've just trained their brains to process the game faster than everyone else. At its core, football intelligence is a simple, repeating cycle. See what's happening, decide what to do, and do it. This happens hundreds, if not thousands of times in a match. The most critical part of that loop is the first step, seeing what's happening. We call this scanning. It's the constant head checks, the shoulder glances, the mental pictures you take of the field. Players celebrated for their high football IQ, like the legends Sergio Busquets or Luka Modric, are absolute masters of this. They aren't just looking at the ball, they're constantly updating a mental map of where their teammates, the opposition, and the space are. Now think about a traditional passing drill. You and a partner kick a ball back and forth. Are you scanning? Nope. You know exactly where your partner is. Are you making a decision? Not really. The decision is already made. Pass it back. You're only practicing the execution part of the cycle, completely ignoring the 2 most important steps before it. You're building a car engine without a steering wheel or a GPS. It might sound powerful, but it has no idea where to go. This is exactly why some players can look like superstars in training but seem lost during a match. Their training has nothing to do with the actual game. Game-based training fixes this. By using small-sided games and adding specific rules, we create an environment where the game itself becomes the teacher. You're forced to scan, decide, and execute under pressure, over and over again. It's not about avoiding mistakes. It's about making thousands of them in a controlled space so you don't make them when it really counts. All right, let's jump into our first drill. You've probably seen a rondo, a simple possession game where a group of players keeps the ball from a few defenders in the middle. It's a classic for a reason, but we're going to supercharge it to specifically target your brain's processing speed. Let's call it the cognitive rondo. Here's the setup. Get a 5v2 rondo going. 5 attackers in a circle, 2 defenders hunting for the ball. Now for the twist. Around the outside of the circle, place 4 different colored cones, say red, blue, yellow, and green. Here's the rule. Before you can get a pass, you must scan the area and call out the color of a cone that's away from the ball. So, if the ball is on the right side of the circle near the red cone and you're on the left, you have to lift your head, spot the green cone across the circle, and shout, "Green!" a split second before the ball arrives. If you don't call a color, the pass doesn't count, or you owe the group push-ups. Your pick. What does this do? It forces the habit of lifting your head before you receive the ball. This is one of the most important habits for developing game awareness. Instead of tunneling your vision on the ball, your brain is forced to process two things at once: the immediate task of controlling the pass and the bigger picture of the location of the cones. At first, this is going to feel impossible. You'll miss passes. You'll forget to look. You'll feel slow and clumsy. That's great. That's the feeling of your brain being rewired. You're breaking the bad habit of ball watching and building the elite habit of constant scanning. Once you get the hang of it, you can level up. The passer can call out a color, and the receiver has to find and shout a different one, or assign actions to colors. If you see red, it's a one-touch pass. If you see blue, it's two-touch. The variations are endless, but the goal is the same. Force your brain to look up, gather info, and make a choice before the ball is at your feet. This isn't just a warm-up, it's a neurological workout. This is how you start building that mental map high IQ players use to run the game. Our second drill takes us from awareness to making decisions under pressure. We need to close the gap between seeing your options and picking the right one every time. This is the decision gates game, and it's designed to train your brain to see and use space in real time. Here's the setup. Mark out a rectangle about 20 by 30 yards. Instead of big goals, set up 4 to 6 small gate goals scattered around the field. A gate is just 2 cones about a yard apart. From there, play a 3v3 or 4v4 game inside the area. The goal is simple. To score, you have to pass the ball through one of the gates to a teammate on the other side. Here's the catch. You can't score through the same gate twice in a row. Why is this so powerful? A normal small-sided game has one goal: score over there. This game has multiple, constantly changing goals. The best gate to attack changes every single second based on where the defenders are, where your teammates are moving, and where the ball is. This puts every player on high alert. If you have the ball, you can't just put your head down and dribble. You have to constantly scan to answer a bunch of questions. Which gate is open? Where are the defenders? Who's in the best spot to receive a pass? A simple pass isn't enough. You have to make a productive pass that breaks a line and leads to a score. For players without the ball, your job is just as intense. You can't stand still. You have to be in constant motion, creating angles to receive a pass through a gate. You're learning to read space and think one step ahead. And for defenders, it's a nightmare, which is exactly what we want. They can't just guard one goal. They have to cover multiple threats at once, forcing them to talk and shift as a team. This drill is a perfect example of a conditioned game, where we use rules to encourage a specific behavior. We're teaching the brain to stop seeing me and the ball and start seeing a web of spaces, threats, and chances. After 10 minutes of this, a regular game will feel like it's in slow motion. Passing lanes will look wider, decisions will feel easier, and your football IQ will have taken a serious jump. Our final drill is the most intense and the most game-like. It combines scanning and decision-making with the most chaotic moments in a match: transitions. This is where games are won and lost. We call it the 4v3 transition overload. Here's how it works. You need a pitch split in half with 2 teams, 4 attackers and 3 defenders, plus a keeper in a full-sized goal. The game starts in one half, with the 4 attackers trying to score against the 3 defenders. But there's a catch. To train intelligence, the attackers have a condition. They must make 5 passes before they can shoot. This forces patience and movement. The defenders have one job: win the ball. The second a defender wins the ball, the game flips. The defender who won it immediately looks to play a long pass to a teammate who is already sprinting into the other half of the pitch. At the same time, one of the attackers, maybe the one who lost the ball, has to sprint back to join the defense. Suddenly, it's a brand new 4v3 attack going the other way. This drill is tough, but it's a masterclass in training game intelligence. Why? Because it forces you to think ahead of the play. If you're an attacker, you can't just think about scoring. You have to think, what if we lose the ball right now? You learn to position yourself not just to attack, but also to be ready to defend the counter. That's the core of tactical awareness. If you're a defender, you're not just hoofing the ball clear. You're trained to get your head up the second you win it, looking for that quick, game-changing counterattack. You learn to turn a defensive play into an immediate threat. This drill forces players to recognize and react to having more players, an overload, in attack and defense. One moment, you're in a 4v3, using your extra player to create a shot. Seconds later, you might be the one defender trying to slow down a 3v1 break. You learn to make decisions based on the ever-changing numbers. Do I press the ball or drop off? Do I risk a killer pass or just keep it simple? These are the high-level decisions that define truly intelligent players. This drill doesn't just copy a piece of the game, it copies the chaotic flow of the game itself. So there you have it. 3 game-based drills designed not just to train your feet, but to fundamentally rewire your football brain. The cognitive rondo to build your scanning habits, the decision gates game to sharpen your choices under pressure, and the 4v3 transition overload to master the chaos. Stop wasting your time on drills that don't look or feel like the real game. The secret to playing smarter is to train smarter. Add these games to your sessions and watch as the game starts to slow down. The options become clearer, and your impact on the pitch grows. Let me know in the comments which one of these you're going to try first. And if you want more drills and insights that actually make you a better player, make sure you subscribe. Remember, football is played with your feet, but it's won with your brain. Now go train it.